Hey, what up? It's Carter from the Peekaboo Boxing Academy, and in tonight's video, what I wanted to talk with you about is adversity in boxing and how it can positively or negatively affect your confidence depending on how you handle it. All right, and we have a very specific way that we handle adversity, that we handle tests in the Cus style, and I wanted to share that with you in tonight's video, because if you don't know how to handle this stuff, you're basically going to be dead in the water upon starting this journey in boxing, especially if you're learning the Cus style, or the Peekaboo style as they call it online. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Carter Weber. I train fighters here at Cus's gym in Catskill, New York, and I was personally mentored and trained by fighters who grew up with Mike Tyson himself and who were trained by the great Cus D'Amato and the great Teddy Atlas. All right, so adversity, all right? This is a topic that I basically got inspired to talk about tonight because there was an experience that was a great metaphor for it, and I think that it applies directly to you if you want to learn more about this topic, right? So tonight I had, one of my fighters go in with, one of George's fighters. George Young, he's another trainer here at the gym, and I also work with this kid closely, right? And I'm starting to kind of get more involved with him as well. And for the first time, we had the fighters graduate from just doing jabbing and slipping, the basic low pressure type of sparring, to a little bit more of a higher pressure intensity, throwing lefts and rights, straight punches, straight to the body, to the head. Now we're throwing the right hand in there, and it can be a little bit more intense for a fighter that's just used to this jab being flicked in his face. Now you're having the punch come at you with a little bit more intention behind it, with a little bit more oomph behind it. And so, these guys were going at it a little bit tonight in a controlled setting, but, they were looking good. And, they were hitting each other precisely. They were moving their head well, how I wanted them to. And, obviously in between rounds, they're getting feedback. Hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to stop doing this. Do this instead. Oh, this looks good. How do we make it even better? Oh, you're doing that really well. They're getting that type of feedback in between the rounds. And in round two, what happens is one of my fighters, he drops down, right, and he clips the other guy to the body, right? The other, George's fighter to the body. And instantly, it's like kind of a shock to his system, and he instantly kind of hurls over the ropes, and he's just kind of, he looks a little bit defeated, but also like he's in pain, and he looks in pain. And what he does is we say, okay, we're going to give you a round off because this is his first time doing it. All right, you're going to get a round off, take a breather, and then we're going to finish the third round out, right? So what he does, he gets up, he walks over into the bathroom, and he stays in the bathroom for a couple minutes, right? And, I'm over giving my fighter some advice, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what? I know what this kid's dealing with, right? So he comes back out, and, the round starts, and then I say, hey, wait a minute. I said, wait a minute, pause the timer, okay? And then I talked to him privately in the corner. And what I told him is a very important philosophy that you need to learn in boxing, especially if you're doing the Cus style, because this was a cornerstone philosophy that Cus had. What I told him I said, that feeling that you just got when you got that strong right hand to the body and it kind of knocked the wind out of you, that's totally normal. I said, don't resist that. I said, that's totally normal. Don't worry about it. It happens to the best of us, and it's one of those learning lessons that's always going to stick with you in boxing, when you look back at all the progress that you made. All these little defeats that you have, whether it be, getting knocked down for the first time or getting hit, with a really good shot to the body or feeling like maybe you got a little bit tuned up, they're all learning experiences that, we all, in the moment, they can be very intense, but when you look back on them, you're going to be really thankful for them. And I explained to him, I said, you're not used to somebody throwing a right hand at you. You're just used to these jabs, maybe a little jab to the solar plexus, and it kind of, knocks some wind out of you. But you're not used to that hard, dropping straight six to the body, that right hand to the body. And I said, you weren't used to it. And as a result, you didn't tense up your muscles. You didn't prepare to take that shot. When you take a body shot in boxing, you don't want your body to be totally relaxed. You kind of brace for it a little bit so that you can take it better, upon doing your sit-ups and your workout, outside of the ring to strengthen that area in general. And so I told him, I said, it's totally normal. I said, you weren't, you've never done this before. You weren't used to it. You don't know how to react. So I said, boxing is all about tests, all right? So the way that boxing works, the way that a good trainer will train you is he will teach you the basics, and he will basically make it so that you have a really solid foundation. and then he'll put you in there, to spar in a controlled setting. He's not going to let it get out of control. You're not going to kill each other, right? You have to learn how to control your emotions. You have to learn how to control your fear and use it as your friend. And you have to learn how to, make somebody miss and make them pay and have good form before you can progress to the other types of sparring. And so I told him, I said, boxing is a series of tests. I said, now we're throwing right hands into the mix. Now it's a little bit intimidating, And I said, that first round or in the very beginning, you're going crazy and you get tired in 30 seconds. I said, but you just did 3 rounds the other night, no problem with jabs. I said, what's the problem this time? I said, it's right here. I said, don't let those self-defeating thoughts enter your mind. Oh my God, I took a right hand to the body. I told him, I said, you know what? I said, boxing, it's all about these little tests. We turn the pressure up, and then you have some adversity, the pipe bursts here. And now what are you going to do? It's in the Cus style, we view all of our tests as opportunities for growth, all right? And any test that you face in boxing, and there will be tests, it's an opportunity for your growth. It's your opportunity to show yourself, hey, I can do this. And so I told him, I said, don't let those self-defeating thoughts enter your mind and don't go in there. I said, what do most guys do? They're going to go in the ring now after taking that hard shot, and they're going to kind of feel like, oh, this other guy, he kind of owns me a little bit now. I'm kind of just fighting to survive now. And I said, no. I said, you know what you need to do? I said, you need to go out there and you need to be calm and relaxed, and you need to fight with intention, the intention to win, not just to survive. I said, you need to go out there and fight with the intention to win. And I said, you guys aren't, killing each other right now. You're just working with each other. But you need to go out there with tenacity, because what happens when you shell up? What happens when you become timid? I said, you give the other guy the wrong impression. You send the message that, hey, it's okay for him to come and take the fight from you. So it said, you know what? Don't let any of that in your mind. I said, laugh it off. I was like, this happens to all of us. It happened to me. It happened to George when he's younger. It happens to everybody. You get hit with that solid punch that knocks the wind out of you. And I said, it's totally fine. It's totally normal. I said, but it's how you respond to it that matters, right? It's how you respond to the test that matters. And then he went out. He performed greatly in the 3rd round. He's throwing lefts and rights. He's moving, and he had a second win. And why? Because it was confidence, right? Confidence gives you that extra stamina, A man will convince himself that he's tired if he no longer wants to fight. Don't let yourself do that. So the next time that you face adversity in boxing, whether it's a loss, whether it's a poor performance, view it as an opportunity. You want to reframe these tests and these adversities. You want to reframe them as opportunities, right? Because what our failures allow us to do is they allow us to make course corrections. If the target's over here and we want to shoot for that target, we want to hit it on the bullseye, there's going to be failure, It's unrealistic to think that you're just going to go there. So what's going to happen? Boom, you go this way. Boom, you go this way. Boom, you go this way. But what's happening to most people when they face adversity is they're not correcting it. They're getting in there, and now they're fighting in a timid way. They're not learning from their mistakes, and then it's making them get battered more. And a lot of people, they don't have good coaches that help them learn from their mistakes. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, one where they feel self-defeated. They defeat themselves before they get in there because they just can't perform at a level where they can feel confident. So these failures, what they do is they provide you with feedback. Oh, I got to course correct. I got to course correct this way. I got to course correct this way so that I can hit that target that I'm aiming for. And that brings me to another point that ties directly into adversity, and that is training with an intention, with a picture in your mind. All right, I tell my fighters this all the time. I told it to them tonight. I said, listen, a lot of fighters, what they do is they just get in the ring and they kind of just box and they go through the motions. I said, no, you need to get in there with an intention. You need to get in there with a specific picture in your mind of what you want to look like, and then you let go when you get in there, and you let all the repetitions and the work you do on the outside do its work in there. But you need that picture in your mind. And you can't just be going through the motions. No, what's your goal? What do you want to work on today? You have to have things to work on. You have to have things, videotape your sparring. Oh my gosh, I did this last time I sparred. I need to work on this. Oh, I did this well last time I sparred, but I need to work on this. All right? So adversity is essential in boxing because it allows you the ability to course correct. And it also allows you the ability to get back up, brush the dust off, Go at it again, make the improvements, and prove to yourself that you can handle it. How are you ever going to be a world champion? How are you ever going to win the Golden Gloves? How are you ever going to be an Olympian? How are you ever going to, just learn how to defend yourself if you can't get back up and keep trying? If you can't deal with the pressure at the lower levels of boxing, how are you ever going to make it to the higher levels, right? And a lot of people, they tell themselves that they want to become a world champion because it provides them with a delusion that makes them feel safe. Oh, I'm going to be a world champion. And what does it do? It just distracts them from the things they need to be doing in the gym tonight or the next day, which is, I need to tweak my jab, 3% so that it looks like this instead of this. I need to use, I need to perform in this way. I need to move my feet this way more. I need to do this move more. That whole world champion thing is a distraction. A lot of people get too obsessed with the goal that's way out there, but they don't want to, do the course corrections that are going to take them there in the moment. So if you want to be, great in boxing, view the adversity, view these tests as opportunities for growth, opportunities for self-exploration, for building your confidence when it comes to your boxing ability. And that's all it comes down to, all right? So I want to finish off tonight by reading a passage out of Mike Tyson's book, his autobiography, Undisputed Truth. And I'm sure you've heard this one before, but it's on the topic of adversity. And it's some advice that Cus D'Amato gave him, all right? This is what Cus said to Mike. You think you know the difference between a hero and a coward, Mike? Well, there is no difference between a hero and a coward in what they feel. It's what they do that makes them different. The hero and the coward feel exactly the same, but you have to have the discipline to do what a hero does and to keep yourself from doing what the coward does. All right? The hero and the coward, they feel exactly the same. It's what they do that defines them. Everybody in boxing is going to face adversity. And yeah, some of us are going to have more confidence. We're going to be able to deal with it better. But videos like this are meant to give anybody who wants to learn the tools that are going to take them far. All right? So that was it for tonight on the topic of adversity, on the topic of, dealing with these tests, viewing them as opportunities for course correction. As always, thank you so much for being here. Much more to come, and I'll see you in the next video.